Handling a toxic work environment with Stoic wisdom can help you maintain your peace of mind, focus on what you can control, and avoid being overwhelmed by external negativity. Here are some key Stoic principles that can guide you through such a situation. 1. Focus on what you can control. Stoicism teaches that we should focus only on things within our control and accept those that are not. In a toxic work environment, you may not be able to change others' behavior or the overall culture, but you can control your reactions, thoughts, and actions. Prioritize managing your own responses to the situation, and let go of any frustration over things beyond your control. In a toxic work environment, it's easy to become frustrated with things you cannot control, like office politics, a challenging boss, or disrespectful colleagues. However, you have the power to control your response to these situations. If your workplace is filled with gossip, rather than trying to stop it, focus on maintaining your own integrity. Choose not to engage in gossip, and instead offer positive conversations or remain neutral. If a colleague repeatedly undermines you in meetings, instead of reacting in anger or frustration, focus on maintaining your composure. You cannot control their behavior, but you can control how you respond. Staying calm in the face of provocation helps you maintain your peace. 2. Practice emotional detachment. The Stoics emphasize the importance of not letting external events dictate your emotional state. In a toxic work environment, try not to internalize the negativity around you. When faced with criticism or hostility, take a step back and reflect on whether it truly impacts your sense of self-worth. In a toxic work environment, you may encounter people who are disrespectful, dismissive, or even hostile. The Stoic approach would be to detach emotionally from their behavior and not internalize their words or actions. If your boss criticizes your work in an unprofessional manner, instead of feeling hurt or defensive, take a moment to reflect on whether the criticism contains any value. You can choose to take constructive feedback without allowing the tone or delivery of the message to affect your self-worth. If a colleague regularly belittles your ideas, detach from the emotional sting. Rather than taking it personally, remind yourself that their opinion is just one perspective and does not define your abilities. 3. Use adversity as an opportunity for growth. Marcus Aurelius and other Stoics believe that adversity can serve as a test of our character. In a toxic work environment, you can see challenges as opportunities to practice patience, resilience, and mindfulness. Rather than viewing the situation as purely negative, ask yourself what virtue or skill it can help you develop, such as improving your emotional control or practicing empathy in difficult interactions. Rather than viewing challenges in a toxic work environment as setbacks, use them as opportunities to strengthen your inner character. Each difficulty can help you develop resilience, mindfulness, and self-awareness. If you are frequently overworked, instead of complaining about the workload, use it as a chance to practice time management and develop the ability to maintain calm under pressure. You should also reflect on how you handle stress and identify areas for self-improvement. If a coworker is consistently difficult, see this as an opportunity to practice patience and empathy. Ask yourself why they might be behaving this way and try to approach the situation with understanding rather than frustration. Over time, this approach will make you more emotionally resilient. 4. Avoid complaining and dwelling on negativity. Stoics teach that dwelling on negative circumstances only leads to suffering. Instead of complaining about the toxic environment, focus on what you can do to improve your situation within the context of your work. Shift your energy away from blame and towards constructive actions, however small they may be. In a toxic environment, resist the temptation to join in negative conversations or let complaints dominate your thoughts. Shift your focus from what's wrong to what you can do to make things better, however small the improvement might be. Instead of complaining about the office's toxic culture, focus on cultivating a positive mindset. You can choose to keep a gratitude journal, where you list things that are going well, no matter how small. Over time, this helps train your mind to focus on the positive, rather than the negative. If a colleague vents about the boss or the work culture, resist joining the negativity. Instead, redirect the conversation towards something productive, such as discussing a project you're working on or brainstorming solutions to office challenges. 5. Set healthy boundaries. While Stoics believe in accepting what we cannot change, they also recognize the importance of setting boundaries to preserve our well-being. In a toxic environment, it's essential to communicate your limits when necessary and protect your mental and emotional health. In a toxic work environment, setting boundaries is essential for maintaining your peace of mind. Boundaries could include limiting your interactions with certain people, not engaging in toxic behaviors, or ensuring that you make time for self-care outside of work. If a colleague regularly vents their frustrations in a way that drains your energy, set a boundary by politely excusing yourself from those conversations. For instance, you could say, "I understand you're frustrated, but I need to focus on my work now." Or if your supervisor regularly pressures you to work overtime or take on unreasonable amounts of work, set a clear boundary by asserting your limits. Calmly communicate when you are available and when you need to step away to recharge. 6. Reflect regularly and practice journaling. Journaling is a common Stoic practice, as it helps to reflect on emotions, actions, and reactions. Write down your thoughts after facing difficult situations at work. Reflect on how you responded and consider how you might handle similar situations more virtuously in the future. This practice can help you stay grounded and aware of your reactions. By journaling, you can gain clarity on your experiences and refine your responses to challenging situations. It will help you process your emotions and learn from difficult situations, so you can handle similar challenges better in the future. After a particularly difficult day at work, take time to write about the events that occurred. Reflect on how you responded, whether you stayed true to your values, and if there were other ways you could have handled the situation. Over time, this practice will help you identify patterns and improve your emotional resilience. At the end of each week, reflect on the progress you've made, both in terms of your work and your own character. Ask yourself whether you've practiced patience, courage, or integrity in your interactions with others. 7. Seek inner peace and virtue, not external validation. The Stoics believe that true peace comes from within, not from external circumstances or approval. In a toxic work environment, it's easy to seek validation or approval from others, but remember that your worth doesn't depend on the opinions of your colleagues or superiors. Find contentment in your own values and actions, regardless of the external environment. In a toxic work environment, it can be tempting to seek validation from your colleagues or superiors. Instead, focus on what you can control, your own actions and values. Find fulfillment in doing your best, regardless of the recognition you receive. If you're overlooked for a promotion or recognition, rather than feeling resentful, focus on the satisfaction that comes from doing your job well and adhering to your values. Remind yourself that your worth doesn't come from accolades, but from your character and integrity. If your work is criticized by someone who doesn't understand your perspective, don't let it shake your confidence. Instead, reaffirm your belief in your own values and abilities, knowing that your worth is not contingent on others' approval. 8. Embrace the present moment. Stoicism encourages living in the present moment rather than dwelling on past grievances or worrying about the future. In a toxic work environment, you may be tempted to ruminate on past conflicts or stress about what might happen next. Instead, focus on what you can do right now to improve your mindset and actions. In a toxic work environment, it's easy to get caught up in worrying about what might happen next or ruminating on past conflicts. Instead, focus on what you can control in this moment, your actions, your attitude, and your responses. If you're dealing with a stressful project, instead of stressing over the outcome, focus on what you can do right now to move forward. Break the task into manageable steps and take action in the present moment. If you find yourself worrying about future conflicts with a difficult coworker, remind yourself that the future is uncertain. Focus on handling the situation as it presents itself, rather than imagining worst-case scenarios. 9. Remember the impermanence of all things. One of the core Stoic ideas is the transient nature of life. No situation, whether good or bad, lasts forever. A toxic work environment may feel overwhelming now, but remind yourself that it is temporary, and things will change. This perspective can help you endure difficult times with patience and resilience. When faced with a toxic work environment, remember that it will not last forever. Change is inevitable, and your current situation is only a temporary phase. This perspective can help you endure difficult times with patience and resilience. When you're feeling overwhelmed by negativity at work, remind yourself that this phase will eventually pass. Whether you decide to leave the job or the environment shifts over time, nothing is permanent. If you're facing constant stress at work, consider how things might change in the future. New opportunities, changes in leadership, or personal growth might help you move beyond the current difficulties. By integrating these Stoic principles, you can transform a toxic work environment into an opportunity for personal growth, emotional resilience, and wisdom. The key is to focus on your own mental and emotional discipline, rather than trying to control the uncontrollable. Stoicism allows you to maintain control over your inner peace while navigating external challenges. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel to know more about Stoic wisdom.